Hello, I'm here to talk about some mods that I performed on my Behringer RX1202 FX mixer. Picked this up for a good price a couple years ago, and I really like the form factor and feature set, although it is typical Behringer quality. I had to perform some service on the power supply to eliminate some buzzing. But while I had it open, I figured I would fix a few other pet peeves. The major one is the absence of mute switches per channel. And after seeing inside this thing, they 100% had the space for it, and they even had push toggle switches in their BOM. They could have just added 8 or 10 more of those switches and reworked the circuit a tiny bit, and it would have had mute switches, but they didn't do that. So I took it upon myself to add them. Up here, you'll see why, but they go side to side, the 8 channels. And then for the stereo channels, again, you'll see why in a moment, but those are over here. I'm going to add some labels there so that it's clear what those switches are for. So let's flip this thing over. And inside, you can see there's a bunch of wires. So this is why the switches are sideways, because there is just barely enough space there for a sideways toggle switch, and definitely not enough space for an upright toggle switch. Now, having seen both sides of the board, I technically could have dremeled away some of this PCB to make room for the switches, but that just seemed like more work than I felt like putting in. And over here are the stereo mute switches, and you can see why there isn't even room for the dual pull, dual throw switches. There really isn't enough room for them above in any orientation, so I just put them over here because above the headphone jack there's all this extra space. Rather convenient. Each of the signals is coming off of this ribbon cable that goes between the front and back PCBs. I figured out where each one needed to go using the scope and spliced on a cable, and then brought each one up to a toggle switch, and in the off position the switches are connected to signal ground. And basically the same deal over here for the stereo channels. Now, one more mod that I performed is that I was annoyed that the main out is XLR connectors, which sometimes that's what you want, but sometimes it's not what you want, and the adapters are extremely bulky. So I figured, easy enough mod, just add some TRS in there, and I'll show you what that looks like. Although the power supply is in the way, we're just connecting up to the same connections as the XLR. So these are balanced outputs, which is nice to have, although not exactly important in my particular case. That's about all, but before we go, I will share some clicking. I will be publishing the full guide on how to perform this mod if you have one of these that you want to enhance in the same way. That's all. Have a good one.